Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to decode the absolute DNA of architectural drawing. If you've ever dealt with raw CAD files that didn't have strict standards applied, you already know that blueprints without rules are just, well, a chaotic mess of lines. But there's actually a brilliant, hidden logic that transforms all that chaos into total clarity.
So, have you ever stared at a complex blueprint on your screen and wondered, why on earth are the walls black, but the glass is navy blue? Or maybe why a beam is drawn totally differently than a column? Well, we absolutely need these specific rules. They function as a universal language for design professionals everywhere. Every single color, thickness, and dash, it has a distinct non-negotiable purpose.
To really get why we do this, let's start with line weights. You can think of line weights kind of like the volume control on your stereo system. Just like loud music instantly grabs your attention, a thicker line on a printed page dictates structural importance. Basically, the most critical parts of a building are shouting at you, while the decorative stuff just stays quiet.
That is visual hierarchy in action. When you're looking at a final print, those heavy, thick section lines are literally shouting for attention. They demand to be seen first. Meanwhile, the thin material hatching is just whispering in the background, giving you a sense of texture without distracting from the actual architecture. Okay, let's break down exactly how this volume dial works, starting right at maximum volume. Our absolute heaviest weight, 0.50 to 0.60 millimeters, is reserved exclusively for section lines. Why? Because you vividly need to indicate exactly where the cutting plane is slicing straight through that 3D space. It's the most drastic cut on the page, so naturally it gets the boldest, thickest line. Next step down on the dial is 0.40 millimeters, and that's strictly used for columns. We use this specific heavy weight because columns are critical structural members that have been cut by the floor plan. They literally hold the building up, so they need to stand out immediately against everything else, including the slightly thinner walls. And speaking of walls, they sit precisely at 0.30 millimeters. We use this weight because walls define the main architectural space. They're forming the boundaries of the room, right? So they have to be clearly and instantly visible on the print, but without overpowering those primary structural columns we just talked about. Now we drop down to a much quieter volume, 0.18 millimeters. This is for elements like furniture, glass, appliances, and text. It's intentionally thin enough so your movable objects don't accidentally dominate the drawing. You want to see the shape of the room first, definitely not the dining room table. Because think about it, if you ignore these specific rules and just draw a couch at that massive 0.60 millimeter thickness we use for section lines, you're going to end up with what looks like a terrifying load-bearing sofa on your final printed plan. It totally ruins the entire visual hierarchy and confuses whoever's trying to read the structural intent. Finally, the absolute lightest touches at 0.09 to 0.13 millimeters are for things like hatching, tiling finishes, flooring, and dimensions. We use this whisper-thin weight to convey really essential material details and measurements, but without making the physical blueprint visually heavy or muddy. So if line weight is the volume, standard line types are the secret code. They act as a highly specific vocabulary, telling you exactly what an object is doing in three-dimensional space.
A continuous line is basically your baseline. It's perfectly straightforward. It just means the architectural element is visible, solid, and right there in front of you. When you see a continuous line, you immediately know you're looking at physical walls, doors, windows, or furniture that exist entirely within your line of sight. But the second you encounter a hidden dashed line, the vocabulary changes entirely. Dashed lines reveal vital overhead elements, like beams hovering above a floor plan, or other concealed structural secrets hidden right beneath the surface. It essentially tells the builder, hey, this is here, even if it's currently out of sight. And the center line, which is typically a long dash followed by a short dash, naturally acts as your precise guide for mapping out the exact axis or center of key objects. We use this so contractors know exactly where to align elements out there in the real-world 3D space. All of this builds directly into our color coding system, which is essentially a visual filing system for the drafter's brain. So you might be wondering, why do we assign such specific colors to specific items on a screen? Well, we do it so you can instantly categorize information at a single glance. Black defines our main walls and critical dimensions. Red is used to immediately flag structural elements like beams, columns, and slabs, plus electrical points. Meanwhile, brown naturally categorizes our doors and furniture, which makes total sense considering they're traditionally made of wood. Notice how the psychology of the colors just continues here.
Blue intuitively maps perfectly to glass elements like windows, as well as plumbing inlet lines for the water supply. Green reliably centers our axes, and we use a vibrant light pink to make our crucial section lines just pop off the digital screen instantly, guaranteeing they're never missed.
Rounding out the palette, we use light gray to push visual clutter, things like flooring, tiling, and hatching, firmly into the background. Conversely, dark gray handles the messy, out-of-sight stuff like plumbing drainage outlets and overhead hidden lines. The colors literally help you filter the drawing visually in real time. But that brings up a really crucial point. Why bother using this vibrant rainbow of specific colors on your computer monitor if the final construction print handed to a contractor on site is almost always just black and white? Like, what's the actual purpose of this dual system? It all boils down to a distinct division of labor. Colors are used specifically to organize the chaotic digital layers and workspace on your screen while you're actually drafting. But the line weights, those millimeter thicknesses we talked about earlier, they control exactly how it prints out on physical paper.
It really all comes together in 3 beautifully logical steps. First, colors organize the digital layers so the drafter doesn't get confused. Second, the line types, like continuous or dashed, indicate the physical element's structural purpose. And third, the line weights finalize the physical print's overall visual hierarchy. By faithfully following these standard CAD layers and refusing to just use arbitrary colors and thicknesses, you are guaranteeing professional results. You ensure your drawings remain perfectly clear, remarkably readable for any contractor on site, and honestly, most importantly, incredibly easy for another designer to edit down the line.
Which leaves us with this final thought to consider. When you meticulously apply these standards for color, weight, and type, are you just drawing abstract lines on a computer screen? Or are you actually writing the universal language of design, literally translating pure imagination into physical reality?